Call of the Void contains strong language and possible trigger warnings and is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Daekon.
Hi, I'm Jack.
And welcome to Call of the Void, a podcast about all things weird and macabre. Now, this week, since we recently did our, year of episodes, we thought that we would maybe revisit, our first episode and talk about some weird news stories again, because we haven't done that in a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's been some more weird news that has happened in the past year.
Dude, we're living in the weirdest timeline there is.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about one first that is
Sure.
not necessarily the one that I want to tell you about.
Yeah, I kind of have mine set up where I do the silly one, and then one that's like, oh, shit. And then one that's like, what the fuck? At the end. Just real quick, before we start, I just want to... I could probably take most of it out in post, but I'm currently recording from my living room, which I don't usually do. And because of that, there might be more background noise than usual. So, yeah. So, I apologize for that if it comes up at all. So,
it
just
should
a heads
be
up.
fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to talk about a couple that are just kind of weird. And then there's one that I really want to talk about because it occurred very close to where I live.
Okay.
And it's a silly one. So something bad happened, but it's one of those that's almost like paranormal investigator fires a gun at ghost. It's
That's still the best thing ever.
It's sort of along the lines of that. It's got a just bizarre headline. But so I don't know if you heard about this, but there was a let me just read the headline. This is on the Huffington Post.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just strange. Gang leader attempts prison escape dressed as his daughter.
I saw that headline. I saw the headline and I was like,
Yeah, so he's a Brazilian drug trafficker.
Okay.
And he tried to switch places with his 19-year-old daughter by wearing a silicone mask and a wig and dressing up in, her clothing.
Wait,
so I guess she
hold up.
came to visit him, and he had a disguise of his daughter that he put on and tried to sneak out dressed as her.
Wait, you said switch places.
That's what it says.
So he tried to get his 19-year-old daughter to be put into this prison so he could walk free.
I mean, not necessarily. I don't think he was trying to get her locked up, but I think he was just trying to, authorities said that he tried to sneak out of a prison complex wearing a silicone mask, a wig, a black bra, and a tight t-shirt with 3 pink donuts on it. He apparently planned to leave. Oh, yeah. So apparently he planned to leave his 19-year-old daughter in prison to do the time.
Wow.
It didn't work as prison guards saw through the disguise immediately.
Yeah, you don't say. I saw the picture.
When they asked for his daughter's ID while attempting to leave, and he couldn't give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was again. The picture is terrifying. Fucking looking. Like it's real bad.
Okay, so do you want to know what I thought when I first saw the picture before I saw the headline?
What?
I shit you not. I thought it was going to be an article about, like, real dolls. And then I saw the headline, and I was like, oh, this is a real person.
Yeah, it's very scary looking. Like,
yeah,
it dips very far into the uncanny valley.
He was not convincing as a 19-year-old at
all.
Oh
no. It's real bad. It's a real bad disguise. Huh?
Who wrote the article?
It's on the Huffington Post.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me look.
Yeah.
David Moyer.
Okay. Hi, David Moyer. Thank you for this. Thanks, I hate it.
But yeah, we're gonna leave links to all this stuff. And you guys should super go look at this picture. It's very scary. It's real bad looking, and I don't know how he thought for even a moment that he could get away with that. I think
the best part about it too is that he's kind of mean mugging the camera in the picture.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I'm so glad you took a deep dive and read the article.
Oh yeah, like it's wild, man. But yeah, like I guess I missed the part where he was trying to switch places and put her in jail while he walked free. But yeah, like it's wild, man. Again, you should super look at the picture. It's really bad. Like it is. I don't know how for half a second he thought that he could get away with that. It is crazy to me.
I mean, it's like, okay, so like there was recently, and this isn't one of mine, but there was recently a story about this woman who was super inebriated, and she got pulled over, and she tried to pass herself off as her 21-year-old daughter. And like, in the picture, like, it's clear this woman, because the woman was like 39 years old, so it's clear that this woman isn't 21 years old, but that was a far better thing. Like, I would much more believe that than I would this picture.
Yeah, like it's real bad. Also, you were talking about the lady being inebriated. This isn't a story that like is anything to do with, like, it's not the one that I want to tell you about.
Oh,
but
okay.
there in South Carolina, there was a woman not a couple months ago who was arrested because she was drunk driving, but what she was driving was her son's Power Wheels. So she got arrested for drunk driving, but she was driving her son's Power Wheels down the road. Which is hilarious, and I thought that's whatever you mentioned that lady, like that's where my mind went, and I was like, I need to mention this. This was a thing that happened too.
Oh my god! Oh wow! Do me a favor, find that article too, so I can put that in the description as well.
Yeah, I will. I'll look for it. Do you have one that you want to talk about?
Sure. So we're off to a good start. So this first one. Florida burglar breaks into home to make breakfast. Tells resident go back to sleep. So, according to the arrest report, alcohol may have been involved.
You don't say.
Yeah, this is also from Huffington Post. It's by Gavin Krim. Safety Harbor, quote, Safety Harbor, Florida, Associated Press. Authorities say a burglar broke into a Florida home, cooked himself an early morning meal, and told the resident to, quote, go back to sleep, unquote. So, could you imagine? So, this dude is, he's 19 years old, and he's a Marine. And could you imagine waking up, like hearing, I hear some noise, going to investigate, which, by the way, you're already dead if this is a horror movie. You go to investigate, and then you just see this dude cooking. For those of you playing at home, Daekon just sent me the article over Discord of his story. So now, thank you. I have to stare at this guy mean mugging the camera.
I fixed it.
Barely. I still see him. But anyway, can you imagine? Excuse me. Can you imagine hearing a noise, going to investigate, and then seeing this just, like, jacked 19-year-old in your kitchen making himself breakfast, going, shh, no, it's alright, dude, go back to sleep. and he didn't leave. He just wouldn't leave. And then the guy is like, okay, I'm calling the cops now. And then he was like, oh, shit, and he fled.
Oh my god.
Alcohol may have been involved.
Oh, may have. You
May
don't
have.
say.
Oh, yeah.
But, no, like,
yeah.
fam, like, that is the most, like, cartoonish, like, shh, go back. I mean, that's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I could imagine, you know, like, Bugs Bunny in a kitchen, and, like, Elmer Fudd walks in, and he's, like, still in a sleep daze, and he's like, what? And Bugs is like, it's okay, Doc, go back to sleep. Oh, okay.
Oh, God. Man.
It's so nice to go back to our roots.
So, okay, what about the person wearing TV on his head torments Virginia Town by placing TVs on porches?
Dude, I've been meaning to tell you we should talk about this. I don't think I read the article. I think I started and then I got, like, super busy. But, like, please tell us about this.
Yeah, so apparently there is a man going around. It's weirding out a lot of the residents in, Henrico County, in Virginia. There's a person that's walking around with a television set on their head and leaving vintage TVs on porches. Somebody said, they said at least 60 people have been subjected to the bizarre antics, which witnesses say are being done by a guy dressed in a jumpsuit with a TV for a head.
This is a cryptid.
Yeah, there's a quote that's quote, it's the weirdest thing. He squats down, puts the TV there, and walks off. It's really weird, end quote. My first reaction was, did we order this? Not in an Amazon box. It was just kind of strange.
Oh my god. What I want to know is is this an ongoing thing, or did it just happen, like, one night?
Apparently it's ongoing. It's still a thing that keeps happening. Nobody knows who it is. It's apparently an air quotes prank that someone is pulling. I don't know.
Okay, so here's what I want to know. Where is this person finding a surplus of these kinds of TVs?
Goodwill. I can answer that question. I worked in one.
Shit, dude. But, like, who has
they're very cheap. You can buy it for like $5. You can buy a bunch of these old ass TVs for like $5.
Okay, that answers the very next question I was about to ask. That I was in the midst of asking.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Again, I worked at a Goodwill. I'm aware. Yep. We would get TVs all the time, and then they would go out on the floor for like $5 to $10, depending on like the size of the TV.
But
so
still, in this economy, let's say they were all $5. Let's say he hits up like 10 houses. That's $55 if you include the TV he's wearing on his head. That's $55, which is a sentence I just said. Like, that's $55 that he just spent on a prank. And that is probably just one night. And if this is ongoing, who the fuck has this money to spend on a prank?
I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe he's just trying to be nice and give people TVs. Like, I don't know. They're all vintage TVs, so none of them have, like, HDMIs or anything, so they're all kind of useless, but like, I mean, I guess you could play, like, retro game consoles on them.
I suppose.
But, yeah, it's wild. It is, nobody knows why, and everybody's like, he said, the Henrico Police Department said that one person is doing the TV porch dumps. He said officers picked up most of the TVs already so that citizens wouldn't have to waste time or money dropping off the orphan TVs at a dump. So people are he's going around and leaving these TVs for people, and then people are just throwing them in the trash.
Which is very ungrateful.
Yeah. I mean, this is like that. This is like that.
Comes to your door and blesses you with a TV, and you're just like, I'm gonna throw this out now.
I mean, again, if you remember in the first episode, I talked about, like in our very first episode, I talked about that person who was walking around and dropping raw meat on playgrounds.
Oh my god!
Like,
yes, I do remember that.
This is sort of the same thing, but with TVs. Don't be ungrateful. It was giving you some raw meat.
Yeah.
You know, that was definitely had salmonella.
I'm sorry, I had to post a picture of a puppy in the chat to fully get rid of the guy mean mugging me.
You don't want to see him? You don't
No,
see his
I don't.
beautiful face?
Dude, I thought he wasn't real when I saw him first. So the fact that he's a real life human scares me.
But yeah, like I said, they said that no crime has been committed or anything, but police are urging anyone who spots suspicious activity to call the Henrico County Police Department. So, I mean, if you live in Henrico County and you see this TV like masked human being that's leaving TVs for people, don't do it. Don't call the police. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Accept your TV, like vintage TV Santa, and and just move on with your day. Let this cryptid do his work.
Yeah, like, I would be so incredibly thankful to a cryptid who left me a thoughtful gift such as that.
But
like, here's what makes me a little upset. So, like, West Virginia has the Mothman. So now is TV guy Virginia's answer to the Mothman?
Who knows? I mean, he'd have to be a harbinger of death.
I mean, not really. Mothman is a sweet soul.
Yes, but apparently, like, a lot of people claim that he's a harbinger of death because every time he's shown up, disaster is struck. He's more warning about, like, it's not that he's the person causing the death, but he's warning that there's a disaster about to happen.
I mean,
which is why I'm like, that's why I'm like, yeah, Mothman's a sweet soul because he wants to save as many people as possible, and he shows up to be like, yo, bitches, you should maybe not fuck around with this big ass bridge. It's gonna fall apart.
Could you imagine this giant, like, fuzzy creature with wings just show up like, trying to save everybody, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's so scary!" And they just run away, and he's like, "Arr."
Like literally, like that's. I mean, the Silver Bridge collapse thing. Like Mothman showed up, and then like a couple of days later, the bridge collapsed, and it was like he was being like, "Yo, you should maybe not fuck with this bridge. It's gonna fall apart," and then it did. And people died.
You think Mothman goes to cryptid?
Cryptid AA? Yeah.
No, like a cryptid group, a cryptid support group where he's just like, I'm trying to be a good Mothman, but they're not letting me.
You know who's not at cryptid support group?
Let me guess. Is it Bigfoot?
Yes, because he's bullshit and he's not real.
That's what he talks about. He talks about you in the support group.
Me specifically.
You specifically. I don't understand. He's a dragon boy. He should get it.
I don't. You're not real.
I love that you just spoke directly to Bigfoot. Oh, shit.
You're not real. I don't take orders from you.
Oh, God. So this next story. This one is also from Huffington Post. And it's by Mary. What?
My other one was also Huffington Post again. Yeah, both of mine were.
So our next one is also from Huffington Post. It was written by Mary Poppenfuss. The headline is: Surfer catches air at Florida beach, lands on chomping 6-foot shark.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I saw that headline and I was like, oh shit. So, the chiropractor is, quote, the chiropractor is ready to hit the waves again after he heals in shark attack capital of the world, end quote. So, let me just read a quote from the article. Quote, a Florida surfer who flew into the air off his last wave of the day unfortunately landed on top of a 6-foot plush shark. The shark bit 4 fingers of his left hand and his left calf and shin. The encounter at New Smyrna Beach in Florida's Central East Coast Tuesday was terrifying, but the injuries weren't life-threatening. The man says, Donald Walsh is his name. I never really tried to throw air, but I tried to throw one. Didn't land it, landed on a shark instead, and he decided to take a bite out of me. End quote. He also goes on to say, quote, that he never saw the shark until as he was coming down. I did see it after the bite happened, end quote. So, again, I would like you to imagine with me for a second. Imagine you're the shark in this scenario. You're just swimming along, minding your own damn business, and then this thing falls on you, and you're like, what the fuck? So, it was a single bite, like a what the fuck kind of bite, and then it swam away. So
this giant board just smacks you in the face.
No, like, yeah, in the article, Donald Walsh, I said his name was, he was like, yeah, so my first instinct was to push the shark. So, like, imagine that. You are in your home, minding your own business, and then someone falls on you, and then pushes you.
And then tells you to go back to sleep.
Tells you to go back to sleep. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna bite you now. And then they flee.
Fuck.
Oh, God. I also love that the first two stories were in Florida. I forgot to mention one surfer that they interviewed for the article. Because, I mentioned this is supposed to be, like, the shark attack capital of the world.
Yeah.
One of the surfers that they interviewed had a quote in the article that said, "It's pretty sharky out there."
Wow.
Yep.
It's an adjective, an adverb?
I don't know. You would think I would know. But,
Anyway. Okay, so the one that I really wanted to tell you about, and I've been not telling you about for a while because
I'm bracing myself.
I needed to tell you about this story, and I was like, we need to talk about this in an episode.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Man blows off arm after trying to feed the squirrels. So what? So there was a man in Shelby, which is where I used to live in North Carolina. Who so he had rigged a bunch of booby traps around his home of shotguns, so that when you'd open like a window or a door, a shotgun would go off. Like if it was like the middle of the night or whatever.
Is there a reason other than Merca why he did that?
I don't know. I guess he didn't want anybody breaking into his house, but he booby-trapped his house so that, like, if you entered the door without releasing it or opened the door without releasing it, that a shotgun would go off. Mm-hmm. And he opened his back door to feed the squirrels outside and blew his arm off. It was a 68-year-old man. And they have a 911 call of him of him calling and being like, "Hey, yeah, I blew my arm off. I'm gonna die. I'm laying outside in the driveway. If you can have somebody come, that's cool. But like, I'm gonna die." And they were like, "Just stay on the phone with us," like all that. And he kept saying like, "Those squirrels got it out for me." And we're trying to kill him.
The squirrels that he was trying to feed?
Yeah, apparently the squirrels had it out for him.
Oh,
and
yes. The squirrels got together and conspired against him.
Yeah.
God.
So essentially they're I mean, he had a bunch of signs up around the house that he stood up for the community whenever a bunch of people were moving in, because they said that there were like drugs and bad people moving in, air quotes, and he had a bunch of signs up saying that like warning crackheads, drug dealers, and air quotes illegal aliens to stay away.
Yeah, so it was Marca. Just as I expected.
But yeah, he was like, "Yeah, the squirrels had it out for me, man. Like they, whatever, I'm gonna die," and all this other stuff. But yeah, a 68-year-old man, literally completely blew his arm off, at like 11:30 in the morning, and at But
imagine being the squirrel in this scenario. Like, you're like, oh boy, we're about to get fed. Bam! What the fuck?
Yeah. So apparently, the sheriff showed up. They took him to the hospital. The sheriff showed up at the guy's house, picked up his severed arm, and carried it to the hospital, where they were able to reattach it.
Oh my God.
I don't know if he has any motor function in his arm or anything, but yeah, like they were able to reattach the arm. So, I mean, at least he has it now. But yeah, 68-year-old man blew off his arm trying to feed some squirrels.
If you are the type of person who would, after your own booby trap grievously injures you, would say a phrase such as, "The squirrels had it out for me," perhaps you shouldn't have access to that many weapons to be able to booby trap your home.
It is. Oh my god, it's so funny.
Oh my
like,
god,
it's a
I
bad thing that
can't.
happened, but Jesus Christ, is it hilarious.
Oh my god, I can't. I mean, like, on a human level, I'm glad he's not, dead, but wow.
Shit's wild,
Wow. I can't. How much you want to bet he reset the booby trap?
I mean,
I'd be willing to bet that happened.
Yeah. I mean, like it says in the article that he, I'm linking you to an article from the Gaston Gazette, even though I live in an area where, like, I know that this happened because it was on the news.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
I was gonna say, were you still, like, when did this happen? Was this before you moved?
yeah, I had moved at this point, but it was all over, like, North Carolina, like, people were talking about it, but yeah, it was like, it says in the article that he didn't know whether it, like, misfired or if he had forgotten that he had it set up to fire or what, but
which is probably what happened.
But yeah, like, it went off and it blew his arm clean off, like, entirely removed his arm from his body.
See, I could never ever set up booby traps like this because when I first wake up in the morning, my brain is so switched off that I would just die the first day. What happened to Jack? We don't talk about it.
I mean, shockingly enough, this guy didn't die first day, but, whatever.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Man.
I'm sorry about my last article.
I'm scared.
I'm very sorry. So this is from NPR, from an article written by Donnie Matthias. Surgeons remove more than 500 teeth from boy in India.
Excuse me?
If you think that headline is scary, wait till you find out how. Quote, "A 7-year-old boy had long complained of a swollen and aching jaw. Surgeons at the Savitha Dental College and Hospital in Chennai, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it, I believe it's Chennai, India, operated and found 526 teeth crammed inside his mouth. The boy had a, quote, defined bag-like mass extracted from his jaw, which weighed 7 ounces and contained hundreds of miniature teeth. Once it was removed, the medical team took 5 hours to meticulously search through and count all of them. Quote, "It was reminiscent of pearls in an oyster," one doctor said. Unquote. This is fucking nightmare fuel.
So this is where the Tooth Fairy stores all of her teeth.
Oh, this poor kid. No. So, yes,
Jesus
again,
Christ.
526 teeth.
Yeah, that's cray-cray.
That's like, this poor kid, like, and it gets even worse. Like, this is nightmare fuel in and of itself. But Later on in the article, it says, quote, according to the National Center for Biotechnology Information, odontomas, which is the name of this condition, are usually discovered in people during their first two decades of life, but can occur at any age, unquote. My jaw hurts so bad after reading this article.
Oh my god.
Like,
I don't think I could imagine having 500 and something teeth in my mouth.
It's... Because here's the thing, like, this is awful. It's absolutely awful. But could you imagine... I know I've been like, put yourself in this person... Excuse me. I know I've been like, put yourself in this person's shoes the entire episode so far. But can you imagine, like, being a little kid? This is a 7-year-old.
Yeah, that
this happened to.
Ugh.
And there's a picture in which they have situated all the teeth in size order in kind of a pretty little spiral.
Uzumaki.
Yeah. So this kind of a thing exists. If you needed more proof that God has abandoned us.
God is dead and we killed him.
Oh, God. Don't tell that to Kevin Sorbo.
Oh my god. Oh my god. My jaw hurts.
Right? Right? Like, could you imagine, like, Mom, like, my jaw really hurts and it's swollen. Okay, let's take you to the dentist. And then this happens.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Like, the boy is... the boy's gonna be okay, but, like, the article said that, fortunately, like, there was no damage to his other teeth except for his molars, I believe.
Yeah.
So, like, when he's 16, he's gonna need to get another operation to get artificial molars put into his mouth. But other than that, like, there's no, like, bad structural damage or anything that was caused by this.
Yeah. I mean, at least that's good, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, I saw this article and immediately went, I need to tell Daekon about this.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, that's, wow. I think that's a good point to end on.
Before you come up with anything else that's gonna give you nightmares. Okay.
So I think that's all we've got for this one.
Yep.
But before we head out, we'd like to take a moment to thank our wonderful friends over at Fierce Ferrets. Thank you so much for hosting us on your website, which is fierceferrets.com. We super appreciate it. You can catch them on Twitch live at twitch.tv/fierceferrets. They are wonderful streamers and human beings, and enjoy watching their content, which is funny. We are a part of some of the things that they do. Tuesdays we do The Last Light, in which I play a wonderful bug boy operative, and Jack is a android mystic.
But Reese isn't wonderful. I see how this goes.
I mean,
watch your next words, my boy.
Reese, but yeah, you can watch us on Tuesdays where I'm just gonna keep going. You can watch us live on Tuesdays. We play there, or it's also a podcast, which you can also find on the Fierce Ferrets website or pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. And we also have Drunk Fandom, which we're working on in a couple months to get all done. But yeah, so you can catch us in those things as well. So yeah, I think that's all I've got for that.
We are also on social media. We have an Instagram account and a Twitter account. Handle is the same on both. It's at the COTV podcast. So yeah, we post silly memes, updates. You can also talk to us directly there. Throw some suggestions for episodes our way. Which, if we use your suggestion, we give you a little bit of a shout out. We also have a private Discord server that has a channel dedicated to suggestions for the show. And the way you get into there is through our Patreon. Patreon tiers of $5 and over get exclusive access to our Discord, but also get access to episodes up to a couple of days in advance, usually a little bit over 2 days. And yeah, the other perk that they get is having their name mentioned at the end of each episode.
Yeah, speaking of our current patrons are Fierce Ferrets, Brandonson, and Jared. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. We very, very much appreciate it. You're all wonderful. And we love you guys so much. Thank you for keeping this show going, and we're glad that you enjoy it. We're glad that everybody enjoys it, even the people who aren't necessarily sub to our Patreon.
Who support us in other ways, like listening and talking about it and sharing the podcast.
Yeah, thank you all so much for continuing to listen. We very, very much appreciate it. And I think that's just about everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we will see you guys in the next episode. And until then, sweet dreams.
Bye.